Thank you for tuning in to Trey Ball. We are back from vacation. Had a beautiful vacation in Cancun, Mexico to celebrate my wife's 30th birthday. But we are back live just in time for NBA All-Star Weekend 2021. Gotta say, I'm not a, not. I mean, I really enjoyed All-Star Weekend. It's one of my, obviously, if you're an NBA fan, it's one of your favorite times of the season. Seeing the dunk contest, three-point shootout skills, the game itself. But I feel like this year it was, first of all, they were told that there wasn't going to be an All-Star game, that it was just going to be a week off from games so they could plan out the next half of the season. But obviously, I mean, looking at the fans not being in attendance and uh, you know, limited amount of games being played due to postponing and health protocols and everything like that taking place. So you kind of knew that something was going to take place as far as the NBA All-Star game. They would realize that they needed a quick money grab, to kind of recover some of the funds that were being lost. Like I said, with all the postponing and you know games being canceled and stuff like that, they needed to have that money grab. So that's pretty much what we're seeing right now from the All-Star game. It's kind of like when it's Friday night and you haven't made any plans for the weekend, you're kind of bored laying around, and you text somebody like, "Hey, you got any plans tonight? You got any plans tomorrow?" And they hit you back, "Nah, you want to do something? Sure, let's throw something together." That's pretty much what happened with the All-Star game. They knew nobody was going to have any games being played for a good week. They knew that the venue was still open in Atlanta. They figured, you know what, let's throw something together. And, it seems pretty rushed and everything happened so quickly. I don't think there was enough excitement available, or there was not enough excitement generated and provided for the fans to be excited for this year's All-Star game, knowing for one that they wouldn't even be allowed to attend. And just looking at the format, at 5 p.m. March 7th on Sunday, they're kicking it off with the skills competition and the three-point competition. Then you're going to have the All-Star game, but in the middle of the All-Star game, at halftime, you're going to have the slam dunk contest, and then you're going to have the second half of the game. Um, I mean, like I said, it just seems rushed, but anywho, it is NBA All-Star Weekend, so the fans are going to be watching nonetheless. One of my favorite events, it's not one that's necessarily televised every single year. It normally comes on like NBA TV. That's the Legends Brunch. You pretty much you just listen to all the old vets, the legends, and the upcoming legends. Sit around, tell stories, crack jokes, give out awards. 9 times out of 10, that award's going to Dr. J, Bill Russell, or Oscar Robertson, or somebody of that nature. But it's just always been one of my favorite events to watch. Everybody get together and tell stories, seeing all the greats in the room. It used to be one of my dreams that one day, if it was like a open to the fan type event, I mean, I would definitely go to see how many autographs I could rack up in that event, because that's so much history of the game in one room, from NBA, college, WNBA, so there's so much basketball history in one room. It's always one of my favorite events to watch, but it's not going to be taking place this year. But just looking at the fields for each event, I mean, you got the skills challenge. Um, you have Robert Covington, Julius Randle, Domantas Sabonis, Nikola Vucevic, Luka Doncic, and Chris Paul. There's only one true point guard on this list, and that's Chris Paul. Robert Covington, I don't know where he came from in this event. He's normally known as a 3-and-D guy. He's pretty well for the Portland Trailblazers this season. I'll give him that. He's normally one of those Swiss Army knife guys. He's been the same, the same highly sought after player that he's been with Philly and Minnesota, and then he was briefly in Houston for a minute, and now he's in Portland Trailblazers. He's a great piece, a great player that you need on your team to help you win some games, especially as versatile as he is. But the most skilled, I don't really know. Julius Randle, he's averaging 5 assists a game this year. You know, 23-11, he's first time All-Star, playing great basketball. I feel like him and Sabonis are pretty much the same exact player. They just play for two different teams. One's black, one white. I mean, not a big deal, but literally that's probably the only difference. They play a very similar style brand of basketball. Two very tough guys. I look at Julius Randle. My nickname for him has always been Baby Randolph or Baby Zebo. He reminds me so much of Zach Randolph. Um, not the quickest, can't jump the highest, but he's gonna get his. He's gonna get that 20 and 10 on a nightly basis. He's gonna make you feel his presence, especially in the physical style of play that he plays. But once again, I don't really know how he fits into the skills challenge. Sabonis, on the other hand, very gifted passer. I don't know if he's as good of a passer as his dad was, but he's still a very good passer. So I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he may have competed in this event before. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. But then you have Vucevic again, one of those Euro style big men. Back to the basket, mid range. He's moving his game to the outside now. I believe he's averaging around 24, 11, and 3, 24, 11, and 4, something around there. And he's playing for the Orlando Magic, probably not getting a lot of notoriety because they're still losing quite a bit of games. But him as an individual, he's going to be a hot commodity at the trade deadline. Again, Euro style big man, back to the basket, mid range, face up, outside, put him on the elbow. You can play through him, passing and moving the ball around. He's a good passer. He's a good scorer. So he's gonna be highly sought after. Luka Doncic. I mean, what can possibly be said about him? He's only what 22, 23, MVP candidate, putting up big numbers every single night, triple double threat every time he steps on the floor. Not the 15, 10 and 10, not the 20, 10 and 10, but he's hovering around that 30 points, 10 rebounds, 12 to 15 assists. That's the type of player he is. That's the type of threat he is when he steps on the floor. So I'm looking at this skills challenge, and it's between Doncic and the point guard, CP3. And I'm also thinking, like Chris Paul, he's probably going to take offense to the fact that he's the only point guard in this group, and he's probably not considered the favorite to win it. So I got CP3 taking that. And looking at the slam dunk competition, a lot of people don't really know anything about these players. Obi Toppin, he's a very high, very he's a high flyer, very athletic. His athleticism kind of reminds me somewhat of a younger Kenyon Martin or Marty Stoudemire. Um, Looking at Anthony Simmons, I haven't really seen a lot of highlight reel level dunks from him, especially since he came into the league. Haven't really seen that from him. He does from time to time get to the basket, but in Portland he's used as a spot up shooter or a play initiator. So haven't really seen many highlights from him. But Cassius Stanley, been seeing dunks from that kid since he was maybe, I don't know, maybe 14 years old. He's been going viral for his dunks since he was in middle school and then high school, dunking on people, jumping from long distances, doing the East Bay, midair behind the bag, windmills, 360s, you name it, he could do it. He has a credible leaping ability. Probably because he's the most, because I know the most about him compared to the other competitors. I'm just gonna automatically select Cassius Stanley. Hopefully his NBA career starts to pick up because he's pretty talented in high school. At Duke, he was kind of reminded me of Andre Dawkins' career when he was at Duke. Very he played within the offense, didn't try to go out and get his numbers each and every night. He just played the game how Coach K wanted him to play the game, the right style of basketball. It wasn't about me, but it was about whatever he had to do to help the team win. Um, but hopefully his career picks up. He is playing in Indiana, and they're gonna be a team that's looking to garnish a lot of young talent. They picked up Levert from Brooklyn, and then they have Sabonis and they have Miles Turner. You have a lot of different guys that you can throw into that mix and hopefully grow the new threat in the Eastern Conference. You see Chicago's kind of, they're one or two guys away from being that top four seed, rebuilding their franchise into a young, strong core in the Eastern Conference. I feel like Indiana could be on that same track. And like I said, if Cassius Stanley can start to recognize his abilities and capabilities in the NBA, look out for Indiana. But in this slam dunk competition, I have Cassius. It's not really as star-studded as it normally is. Zach LaVine has moved on. Aaron Gordon said he won't be competing anymore, which is a travesty. Um, I look at him, Aaron Gordon, I mean, and I'm kind of tempted to put him, as far as his performances in the slam dunk competition, I want to put him in that upper echelon of performers. That Vince Carter, Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Nate Robinson got the sympathy vote a couple different years, but I want to put him in that upper echelon of dunkers, strictly in the slam dunk competition. Zach LaVine is in that upper echelon as well, I feel like, because the performance that those guys put on when they went head to head, it was one of the greatest dunk competitions of all time. Everybody likes to mention the Jordan versus Neat. I mean, I put that up there. I put that up there. Vince Carter, one of the best performances that we've ever seen. From the standpoint is, I mean, it may not have been the flashiest dunk, but at the time, he was an elite leaper, finished every single dunk the first try, and I believe every single dunk was a 50. So that's about as close as you can get to perfection. So, I like I said, I put all those guys in the same class. I wish, guys like Zion, LeBron's probably not, most definitely isn't going to do it at this point of his career, but I wish we could have seen those type of athletes getting into the mix, the elite of the elite players start performing in dunk contest. Hopefully, we see Zach and Aaron Gordon do it one more time where they're still young and jumping through the roof. On to the 3-point contest. You can thank Steph Curry and, to another degree, Klay Thompson for breaking not only the game of basketball, but the All-Star Weekend competitions, because now everybody looks forward to the 3-point contest the same way we used to look forward to the slam dunk contest. Now you have guys like in the league like Steph, Dame, Klay, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine. I mean, all these guys that light it up on a nightly basis and start pulling up from one step inside the half court line or shooting from the logo. Logo Dame. We have so many great shooters in the NBA now that this is the competition to see. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, I'm a Miami Heat fan. I'm not gonna go an entire episode without throwing in a Miami Heat player. Uh, Tyler Hero is gonna be in this competition at some point. Duncan Robinson most definitely is gonna be in this competition at some point. Is there so many great shooters in the NBA this year? The field, Dame did step down, for rest purposes. I believe he wanted to rest at halftime for the NBA All-Star game. Um, so this year's field is Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, and if I'm not mistaken, Zach LaVine is shooting somewhere like 43% from the three-point line. He's actually the number one three-point shooter in this entire group. So it's going to be a great shootout, and I think Donovan Mitchell is the fastest to 1,000 threes. Either him or Buddy Hield. No, Buddy Hield I think is the fastest to 400. No, that's not right. Yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell is the fastest to 1,000. I got to double check those numbers. But anyways, Zach LaVine, top three-point shooter in the field. I still have Steph Curry, and here's why. I think there's a lot of Golden State slander, rightfully so. Kevin Durant left. Klay Thompson's injured. You're still looking at, I mean, is Draymond really as good as everybody thinks he is? Is Steve Kerr really that great of a coach, or was it, were we caught up in the glitz and glamour, of the Golden State Warriors 5-year run, 3 championships, 5 finals appearances? Were we caught up in that? So it's kind of a fair assessment, but you still have Steph Curry, MVP candidate Steph Curry, playing out of his mind, 60-point game, 50, 40, 30, whatever you need, he's got it. Multiple games of 6 3-pointers or more, 7, and I think he has a couple games with 9 and 10. But this is one of those opportunities, no matter how big or small, what everybody's perspective is, you look for those opportunities to let everybody know you are still that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, we may not feel like he has to do this, but LeBron may come out in an All-Star game feel like he has to let everybody know, hey, I'm still the best of the best. Everybody has those moments where they think that way, or they approach an event or a competition or a game that way. I think this is going to be that for Steph, to let everybody know, hey, I'm still the greatest shooter of all time. Obviously Ray Allen and Reggie Miller are retired. They're still very high in the record books. I think Steph just passed Reggie Miller for second on all-time list behind Ray Allen. But Steph Curry is already a bona fide, solidified legend as a three-point shooter, and this is the perfect opportunity to let this generation know just that. Moving on to the NBA All-Star Game. They had the draft the other night on NBA on TNT. Team LeBron is LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Luka, the Joker, Dame, Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, Sabonis, and Rudy Gobert. Team Durant is Kyrie, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, James Harden, Devin Booker, Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Nikola Vucevic, Donovan Mitchell. I am leaning towards Team LeBron on this one. If you look, let me repeat those names: LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Doncic, Jokic, and Damian Lillard. That right there is, I believe, six of the top seven or eight MVPs. In the MVP, ladder right now, currently. So, I mean, you have six guys that's playing probably the best basketball in the NBA right now as your top six. And for my MVP of this game, I actually pick Damian Lillard. And looking at Team Durant, you do have to sub out Devin Booker for Mike Conley. I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I got Team LeBron. I don't want to jump to conclusions or say anything outlandish, but this looks like a clear blowout to me. Like, you start off with LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Doncic, and Jokic, okay, but you come off the bench with Damian Lillard and Chris Paul in the backcourt, Simmons on the wing with Paul George, and in the paint with Rudy Gobert or Sabonis. So I mean, that's by far and away a blowout in my opinion. Jaylen Brown is also now in the mix. I think this is his first All-Star nod, or was it last year? Probably his first All-Star nod, but this is set up for a landslide for Team LeBron. With the Mike Conley thing, okay, Mike Conley replaces Devin Booker. Devin sprained his knee. This leads into the all-snub team for me. Now, granted, Devin Booker is in the West, but let's just look at the all-snub team, all right? So we have, in my opinion, this is the snubs right here. You have Trae Young at 26, 4, and 9. Again, he's in the East, so he wouldn't be able to sub. So the Hawks are 16 and 20. Bam is also in the East, 18 and 18, but he's putting up 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. But looking at the West guys, okay, I'm not gonna really mention De'Aaron Fox because they're 14 and 22. You got to have a cutoff somewhere, right? DeMar DeRozan, he's at 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and the Spurs are 18 and 14, and I believe they're sitting at 5th in the Western Conference. Okay, asterisk by him. Brandon Ingram for the Pelicans, they're 15 and 21. They've had, guys in and out of the lineup. I understand that Zion's missed a few games. He's putting up 23, 5, and 5. That's pretty good. I believe he was an All-Star last year, and those numbers would have gotten him in. But you still have Kawhi, Paul George, all those guys throwing him in. Kawhi, Paul George, LeBron. There's so many different talented guys at his position that, it's almost impossible for him to get in. His teammate made it in, Zion, because he's box office. That's just automatic right there. But, looking at SGA, right? Shai Gilgeous Alexander. One day I'll get his name right the first time, but he's putting up 23 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He's shooting 51% from the field. He's shooting 41% from the three-point land and 80% from the free throw line. These are all career highs. If this is me, having a vote for the reserves, he's going to be somebody that's going to be in that mix for years to come. I think De'Aaron Fox is probably going to be in that mix as well. But talking about the up and comers, guys that's going to be throwing their names in the ring for years to come, SGA is going to be somebody that you look out for. I think he's going to be big time. And first of all, think about it like this. So he had a year to spend studying and being tutored by Chris Paul. And for somebody to go from what he was doing last year with Chris Paul, still play good basketball. They were able to make it to the playoffs. I believe they were the second seed. The seventh seed. My bad. They were the seventh seed. Being able to be in the backcourt with a guy like CP3, one of the best point guards of all time, that's bound to rub off on you. And he obviously took everything he possibly could because he's playing phenomenal basketball this year. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think he's a future All-Star, a future consistent All-Star. But I don't think Conley deserved the nod. I would have, like I say, either SGA, or if you want to give it to somebody who's in the playoff picture, DeMar DeRozan, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Granted, um, they're probably looking at the fact that the Utah Jazz are the number one team in the NBA right now. They're playing great basketball. Yes, they're first in the West and first in the entire league. They're sitting at 27-9. They lead the Suns, Lakers, and Clippers above other teams. So you want to give them three players. I get it, but you also want to be mindful that other players are deserving more than that third person on the best team in the league. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Special thanks to Curtis Murphy and Murphy Elite Training for sponsoring this episode. If you want to stay up to date on merchandise or simply update your game, please click the link in the description to stay up to date on all things Murphy Elite Training. Until next time, you know the rules.